Yo, what's going on, man? I am Gil Franklin, America's premier self-awareness coach for men, and welcome inside of this portion of your Forex focus trading. We're going to be talking about identifying time vampires, energy leeches, and the hobgoblins of motherfucking distraction. We don't need them. You don't need them. Why are they in your life? Well, guess what? You can't help it. It's just a part of life. There's never going to be a part of your life where you're never going to have one of these. There are going to be certain points, actually, that where you will have absolute control, where you are almost like fully 99.9% of the way and in control of your moment, but there's still that one little fucking disastrous 1% that comes in. Maybe it's a kid, maybe it's a fucking cat, maybe it's your lady, maybe it's some life thing, maybe it's your dog. I don't know, whatever it is, but you cannot avoid it. And that's totally fine. We are men of action, we are men of motion, we are motherfucking action takers. Alright, so before we get started, I wanted to get you started, and I wanted to get you rolling on a very important exercise that we will be reiterating for you and continually throughout this training that I have been talking about. It's kind of like an incantation method. It's the Tony Robbins rapid wake up incantation method right now. So on the count of three, you know what we're gonna fucking say, right? You know what we're gonna say. It's three words. It's I love myself. So on the count of three, yell it out as loud as you can. Alright, and then punch it into the air. I know you can't see me doing that right now, but I am punching into the air as I was doing that. Alright, so 3, 2, 1. I love myself. That's kind of like 4 times, but either way. So now that we got that wrong, let's move on to the next slide. So, what is this section about? So, if you aren't getting the results that you seek in life, in your life, on a consistent basis, chances are it is because you are living up to someone else's expectations, not yours. It is because of these small compounding details that they inhibit you from achieving the lifestyle, the women, the wealth, the relationships, and everything else that you deserve today, not tomorrow, and, well, every day after that. This section of Forex Focus is about becoming aware of these kind of exposures. Then during your golden hours of operation, it's about you ruthlessly blocking, preventing, or even removing them or yourself from that place, from your place of work, so that you may properly see through whatever task it is that you must get done, for whatever goal that you need to get punched out and accomplished at that certain point in your life right now. Maybe it's just about becoming the better communicator in your life. Maybe you want to just get better at talking to women. Maybe it's achieving a wealth goal of having $50,000 a month. I know there's some big guys in here that actually have businesses and they're about developing that. Maybe it's getting a certain amount of followers on your Instagram or your Facebook page. Whatever the fuck this goal is, it's about allocating a specific amount of time in your life and then becoming aware of all of these specific exposures that are in our environments, not only just environment, but also the people, these people that are time vampires. We'll go into that in a hot fucking minute. And also energy leeches that can literally hold you back from achieving whatever the fuck it is you want in your life right now. Okay? That is what this section is about. So, let's keep moving. I plan to keep this thing short, punchy, to the point, and, well, strong and valuable for you. So, alright. So the first person we're going to be talking about is time vampires. So time vampires. These are the Larry Bob fucking SpongeBob fucking SquarePantses of your environment. These are the people that when you are doing something, let's say you're working in your business environment, you're a CEO, you have an open door policy in your business, in your building, or whatever you want to call it. These are the consistent people that when you have your fucking door open, they consistently always have a question. They are always bobbing in and out because they don't have their own purpose yet. They consistently fucking need help. And if it's not one thing, it's always another thing. It's just a consistent wave of nagging, nagging, and nagging, and nagging, okay? So the way we were gonna be staking, literally staking because it's a vampire, okay? Staking a fucking, or sticking a stake into their fucking heart and so you can shut them the fuck up, is gonna do two things. One, you are gonna make sure that in your communications with them, excuse me, you're going to make sure that in your communications with them, you are going to block them out. Right, and the best way that we're going to do this is you're going to tell them, hey, I need you to tell them. This is what you're going to say. Say, hey, okay, look, I'm really busy. I know you have this much potential in you, but right now, because I'm really busy and I can't always help you, I need you, before you come to me, I need you to get very specific and hone in what you need to tell me. Alright, yeah, what I want you to do basically is I want you to write down your specific message to me. The reason why I want you to write this down is because so you can be very clear and specific and to the point. Don't write me out a fucking essay, just be clear, specific, and to the point. So that way I can get what you're trying to give me. Alright? Have them write it to you on a little memo, and then hand it to you right there and say, okay, thank you. Get back to me as soon as possible. Have them do that, walk into your office, put it on your desk in front of you. And if you have many of them, just prioritize that, okay? So that's one way of going about it. That's if you have a business, or if you have like an office, or you work in an office, yada, yada, yada. But what you can do as well is what I like to do, if you don't have an office, if you're just a dude on your own mission, an average everyday guy trying to better himself and become that better version of yourself, the strongest version of yourself, is what you can do is what I call have a closed door policy. Right? This doesn't mean like stop taking clients. Doesn't mean stop allowing so many clients to come to you. No, what it does is it tells people that your time is supremely, motherfucking crazy valuable to you. Right? And that because you value your time and you value your focus and you value the amount of attention and amounts of awareness and consciousness that is going out there into the world, you want to control that. You want to limit the amount of time that people are able to be around you. You are basically taking things one step and one punch and one move at a time. You are only allowing yourself to allocate specific high priority people, right? So whatever is most of a priority on your list may be, let's say you're just the average everyday guy and you're trying to communicate better with women, then maybe the best thing that you will be focusing on is one specific mentor who is great with relationships, sex, great talking to girls. Maybe not pickup artists. I mean, I'm not big on pickup artists anymore. I used to be when I began this when I was 18, but not anymore. I'm more about like high status and actual genuine connections with women, being social, all of that shit, creating the best possible positioning, power, influence, and all that stuff. So maybe you want to look into that person and you want to focus in and hone in on that one mentor that's going to get you there, right? And you don't want what the time vampire is going to be doing that for you is anybody that does not have a track record. Maybe it's like, excuse me, for example, I'm pretty sure we have all met that one person, like older gentleman who has who like you can just tell when he tries to give you advice about dating, about women, and like trying to impress women. It's just it's so like you can just tell that this guy hasn't seen a pussy for like before Nixon was in fucking office. It's not even funny. You can just tell by the way he acts, by the way he is. He doesn't have any track record. He's just going off whatever preconceived paradigm, whatever notion there is thrown out there into the world, and whatever he sees in fucking social media. You can tell by the way he presents himself. So what your job is to do to stake your fucking to stick that fucking stake into their heart is trust results only and follow only the absolute fucking best, right? Block them out with your closed door policy. Have a certain pertinent amount of time in your own day so that way you can allow this little process of evolution, of growth to happen. Remember, this is what our golden hours are. When those times are there, do not be around them. Have your own little place, your own little sanctuary where you are separate and unplugged. About this, especially when I say unplugged, we'll see what I mean in a moment. Unplugged and disconnected from them. Okay? Do not allow your time to be sapped and sucked away by the motherfuckers. Okay? If you have any more questions on this too, I can also, I'll just do it right now. So, if you have any more questions on this topic, I would highly, 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 highly suggest that you get the book by Dan Kennedy, one of my mentors. It's called No BS Time Management, the ultimate kick butt guide for managing profits, managing time, and managing sanity, whatever you want to call it, for entrepreneurs. Get that book. Read that book. Don't just read it once, read it many times, and take in all of the juicy details that are going to help you develop yourself and become this time management legend. Okay? Cool. So that is this for time vampires. Let's go on to energy leeches. Alright. So, just like time vampires, energy leeches are a little bit more personal. Okay? So it depends on what aspect of life that you are in right now. Maybe your father, if you're a father, then you probably will have kids to deal with, and you can understand that what it means to have an energy leech in your life. It's kind of like, it basically goes back to your whole time management game. How are you managing your time? How are you managing your priorities? How are you managing your health, wealth, relationships, your sex, and your purpose parts of your life? And yeah, I keep burping. But the energy leeches and what these things are isn't just physical people, but sometimes it can also be like a job. It can be people at your jobs, and this is why it is very important for you to recognize and understand and be aware of these things that can be a leech. Now, what I mean by leech is, what are these little aspects, these little exposures in your life right now? Is it a person? Is it a kid? Is it a place that, is it a specific destination? Is it your car? It can even go as far to being simple little daily responsibilities that you're allowing to still manifest themselves in your life. Maybe it's, as I said, as your car. For example, in my life, before I got to the point where I'm at, I used to drive a 2006 Toyota Scion TC. Alright, so now the thing that doesn't sound bad at all because it's a really reliable car. But what the thing that you did not know is that it was a hand-me-down upon a hand-me-down upon one other hand-me-down. Right, it used to belong to my brother, who was also an entrepreneur, but he drove all over fucking Southern California. When he first got it, he drove all over fucking Southern California just for work, and he would be selling paintball tickets. He'd go to different states. He would drive in that car. Not only that, he was in the military before that, so he also had the car then. Someone broke into the car. He had a prior history, and then after he had that, he got another car. Then he got a family, whatever he wanted, and he gave it to my mom. And then my mom had it, and then she drove it around a bit, and then as I got rid of before I had the Scion, I had like a little beater car, which is a 97 Honda Accord. That thing broke down. I had to get rid of it. And I needed a car, and I needed to start working. This is when I was like 19 to 20, 21 years old. Yeah, maybe around there. And then I had that car. Then after, literally hand-me-down after hand-me-down to hand-me-down. So by that time, at that point, mind you, that car had 265,000 miles at that time. To fast forward it 3 years later, it now has 315,000 miles on it. We still fucking have it then. Now, the reason why I'm comparing this to the energy leeches is because that thing, because it had that many miles and it got that fucking old, it became a leech because it needed consistent management. It kept sucking out funds from portions of my life. It also kept sucking out, which because of the funds and because I needed to keep working and I wasn't in this position of life yet, it kept sucking away at my energy. It was a leech. Right? Does that make sense? So little things like that can be a leech in your life too, and that is why it is motherfucking imperative that you get to know and recognize these things, the tiny things, right? So you need to get it through your head. First impressions fucking last. These tiny little details, the things that you think don't matter, they do matter. They matter on a tiny scale, and because they are tiny, they compound on. If you don't know what it means by compounding, that means they stack up on top of each other, which eventually make them turn into these gigantic fucking problems. So it is imperative, it is motherfucking imperative that you knock them out and you get them done and you just stay on top of them. Make it a routine, make it a habit of staying on top of these tiny little things so that way they do not suck out that much energy. So whether it is a car, maybe it's, I understand if you have a baby and if you have a kid, but nonetheless, you should not, remember that last video we talked about, you cannot and you should not use your family as an excuse. If you really care about your purpose, or if you really care about figuring out about what you can do as a purpose, or what you can be in this world, and if you're just waiting to have a purpose, it is imperative that you take care of yourself first. Okay? It is imperative that you care for yourself first. What was that first fucking mindset that we talked about in this training? That one thing that if you forgot everything, that if you didn't care for anything else in this training, but you remember that, if you still remember that one fucking mindset, you remember what it was? It was do not eat, do not play, do or work somebody else's hours until you have first and always have invested 20% of your time, focus, and energy into your own personal development daily. Into your personal development daily. Okay? So it's giving back to you. Only 20%. You have to love yourself. You literally, in order to be around me, you must love yourself first, and then give it to your family. Because if you don't love yourself, you're going to have nothing at the end of the day. Everything's going to shrivel you up. All of your responsibilities, all of the love that you share with your lady, with your baby, with your dog, with your cat, with your car, all of that fucking shit, it's going to shrivel you up, and then you're going to go to bed, and then you're going to think you have all this energy. You're going to wake up in the morning the next day, you're going to be fucking dry. You're going to be like, you're going to be a goddamn starfish without water. And you're going to hate your life. You're going to be like the rest of 98% of society. And I don't want that for you. And I'm pretty fucking sure that you don't want that as well. Alright? That is what an energy leech is. Figure out what those things are. Alright? Alright. Environmental distractions. This one's pretty simple. But like I said, it's the tiny little details in your life, in our lives, that fucking stack up. They compound on top of each other. And then when little tiny details like that compound on top of each other, we don't, like, for some reason, because I get it, man, like, I'm a human being too, like, we're too fucking lazy, we just don't feel like doing it, we're like, oh god, it's been a long day, I just want to sit down, I want to be wrapped up, oh, I'm already comfortable, I don't want to get up. No, fuck that, just stay on top of your details so you can get it done in the maximum amount of time possible, so you can stay on top of that, and so you don't have to deal with it down the line. So environmental distractions can be anything. It can be, as I said, it can be your car, but in this case, it's not going to be your car. Let's say you have your golden time already set up, and you know where you need to go. You have an idea what you're going to do. I don't know if you've gotten into the section about the secret of energy is, the secret to focus is energy. Excuse me, I had it backwards. When you go in there, what we're going to be talking about is this special little thing called Prime. Prime is about you having your certain time of day before going into work when you get active. You activate your fucking body before you turn on your mind. Or therefore, you activate your body, therefore your mind turns on. And then when you stimulate your mind later, by ingesting certain substances that are very good for you, like water, and then maybe a little bit of caffeine or some form of green juice, whatever you want to call it, then you really stimulate your mind so that way you can crunch your day. You can turn up the levels of energy and mental and physical activity so you can get the maximum amount of proficiency and get a real ball of momentum working for you, okay? So, environmental distractions, though. The best way to describe this is what I call the multi-tab ninja. Right? So on your PC, think about it. I don't do this, but I have seen many, many, many a man do this. I even know a lot of friends that still kind of do this, but I don't. Like I associate with them, but I still do not always stick around them a lot. Alright, I call it the multi-tab ninja because whenever they're on a motherfucking PC, they have not one or two or three tabs open, which is fine, because I sometimes have two. But they have like 20 motherfucking tabs open of 20 different motherfucking things going on. They got YouTube, they got their bank account, they got Facebook, they got, I don't know how the hell they got an Instagram on their computer, but they have Instagram on there. They have some other thing they're looking on, another version of YouTube they're watching on, maybe they're checking out an anime, maybe they're looking at another movie. I don't know. I don't know whatever the fuck it is they're doing. But they have 20 goddamn tabs open on there and they're having a hard time trying to focus on a lot of things. And not to mention that, their phone is going off. They have their phone right there, so they're looking on that. They're like texting me. Oh god, like yeah. Oh man, yeah, that's funny. There's like different memes going on. I don't know. Okay, so but why am I telling you that part? Why does that really matter? Think about this. If they have that many things going on along with them looking at their phone and then the fucking television going off in the distance as well, and then they have a kid, let's say you have a kid too. I'm pretty sure some of my friends don't have a kid, but I can imagine having a kid there and you have a lady with you and then you have your bills stacking up in your mind. Do you think you're really present? Do you think you're really conscious and aware and capable to focus on one thing specifically right in front of you so you can get that thing done properly? If your answer is yes, it's bullshit. Because you can probably get it done. I won't deny that, but you won't get it done properly. It won't be up to your expectation. It won't be fully fulfilling, and it won't deliver any fucking value. Why? Because you have too many tabs going on. Now, there's a deeper metaphysical message that is in this. Okay, so environmental distractions. When you have all of these silly little, I like to call them open tabs in your mind, open. Like you have different, let's just call them gray zones. When there are all of these little gray zones in your life that have little, we just call them like open. You call them gray zones. You can also use them as open loops of your life. I think there was a thing called the Zeigarnik effect where people leave certain tasks left undone in their own life. And what happens is, as you leave those certain tasks left and unclosed and undone in your life, what happens is you tend to think about those certain tasks that are undone more frequently in your life than you do versus whatever is actually going on in the moment. Okay, you think of all the fucking problems instead of thinking of all of the solutions to the problems. So what you need to do, and what we can do, because of that silly little Zeigarnik effect, that's what it's called, I remember. I don't remember the guy's first name, but it doesn't really matter. So what you can do is, we're going to hone in on one specific task at a time. You're going to pick out your top motherfucking 5. This is what we're going to do. We're going to jump to this next slide right now. But environmental distractions, first thing we do before we jump in is I want you to figure out what are these little things in your life. What are these open tabs? What are these open loops in your life? Is it the computer? Is it your phone? Is it the too many people talking to you? Is it your baby? Is it your car? I don't know. Energy leeches, environmental distractions, these time vampires. What are these little fucking tabs going on in your life? All right. Figure that out right now. Take a couple of moments, pause this, and then move forward to the next slide. And then we'll really go more in depth about writing it out and figuring out what these little fucking open tabs are and how we're going to work on them right now. So your mission, as I said before, if you choose to accept it right now. You have 2 minutes to stop and take a moment and consider each of the three categories. To consider inside each of the three categories who or what inside of your life go where. So when I said the environmental distractions, your energy leeches, and your time vampires, list out 5 to 10 people or exposures in your life that fit into those categories. 5 to 10. Get them all written down. Okay. Pause the video if you have to. I'm gonna keep going. So after you have figured those things out. So after you have figured all of those motherfuckers out, you've written them out, you have 5 to 10 for each little category. What you're gonna do is I'm gonna give you 2 weeks. Let me make sure I get this right. There we go. Right here. Make things healthy now. Right. So I'm gonna give you a deadline of 1 week. We'll give it 2 weeks maximum. 2 weeks maximum for a deadline time for you to choose out of whatever it is in those little categories, in the distraction, environmental distractions, in your time vampires, or the energy leeches. You need to figure out for those 2 weeks at a time. You're gonna align them with your goals, whatever your golden hour is, and whatever those fucking goals are that you're gonna do. In your golden hour, and you accomplishing that goal, your goal is one step and one punch and one move at a time, like specifically honing in on them. You are going to block out all of those motherfuckers that are in there. And you have 1 or 2 weeks. No, I'm going to give you 2 weeks. Let's put it that way. You have literally 2 weeks to make sure you get everything, to make sure that all of those motherfuckers are blocked out on that list consistently. That is it. Block out all of those motherfuckers on your list consistently in your golden hours that are related to your goals. When it comes to your goals, do your goals one step, one punch, and one move at a time. Meaning, when I say that, just focus on one of them at a time. I kind of fucked it all up when I was talking about the whole one step, one punch, one move at a time. But what I meant was, you have one goal. Let's say the goal is to become a very effective communicator with women. The best way that you can do that is when you actually go out. You can go to a bar, you can go to a club, you can even do, some people call it day game, but you can go out into like social life. You can go to the mall. You can just choose to be very open, choose to be very crazy. A lot of really ambitious people like to do that and just like not hit on women, but just to be free and open, spontaneous, and just say whatever comes to your mind and be really fun. And then obviously, in order to do that, you have to amplify your state. That means like you should probably go to the gym, not to like look good, even though it does help to look really good, but to really just put your, like, as I said earlier, to activate your physical body, and therefore from the serotonin and all the like endorphin, the what's that fucking hormone? Another hormone that makes you feel good. Basically, it comes up when you eat. Endorphins, yeah, I had that right. The endorphins activate inside of your brain, so you feel even fucking better. And then maybe you had a cup of coffee or whatever you want to call it. You have some gum, you look good. You mess with your style, and then you go out, and then you're just being free flowing with other people. Just be like having a genuine conversation with them, and just like creating that great eye contact, that great energy, getting that feedback, seeing where they are at in their own life. And if you don't know how to do that, obviously that's another training by yourself. But that's just for becoming an effective communicator and learning how to have a conversation with people. Maybe your goal is to hit 5K a month, maybe 50K every 2 months, or 2 months or a month, whatever you want to do. Your goal is to prioritize whatever specific tasks that you need to do within that golden hour of your life. The things that we broke down earlier in this training. And then within those golden hours, because it is a part of this training, your fucking goal is to disconnect from all of that bullshit that is distracting you. All of the time vampires, all of the energy leeches, and all of these little silly environmental distractions. I mean, if it's your phone, then put that shit on airplane mode and don't touch it. And if it's your computer and there's something on there you can't help but watch fucking pornography, you better put that shit on. Don't put it on incognito, just delete it. Get rid of it. Then in that period of time, focus. Done with this. Alright, so as I said before, your job is to know your golden hours of operation and get the fuck out of them. And get those people the fuck away from your portions of time. So if it's only an hour that you allocated for yourself, for your priorities, for your mission, for your goals, for that 20% of self-love in every one of your days, remove them, or remove yourself. It is really, honestly, and genuinely that fucking simple. And here's another bonus because I love you. This is actually, if you've ever got my other program called the Visionary Mentality Switch, it's really powerful. It actually talks about something, about really understanding and this concept, this paradigm of living life on your own terms and not on somebody else's terms. Okay, I'm not gonna go about like breaking that down because that is literally an entire training. It's crazy. It's like a 3-step training. It's like a 3-step series. I don't even know if I'm gonna release it into like all of my VIP clients yet. So if you want to know more about that, you can easily contact me at info.gfpeakperformance@gmail.com. I'll get back to you and I'll probably send you a link, but I still don't know yet. But this is literally in the training, and it is so immensely powerful. So before I actually go about giving you the Renegade formula, and like, because I know you see it right here, which is totally cool, but you don't understand the power that it actually contains in it. So what I'm about to read you is actually a biography of what somebody else wrote for P. Diddy. I don't know if you know who P. Diddy is. P. Diddy is also known as Sean Combs. He's a philanthropist. He's an entrepreneur. He's a self-made entrepreneur. He's also a music producer who actually created and who actually, what was the best way to phrase it? He didn't rely on any form of like drugs, like selling drugs. He didn't have a bad prior history with music. He actually signed a lot of people. He's really self-made, and he was in one of my favorite marketing newsletters that I read consistently so I can grow and become the better version of myself every day, right? So let me give you a quick back read on him right now. Okay. So the name of this whole report that I'm about to read you is called Dan Kennedy's Renegade Millionaire System, right? And this is literally a report, as I said, on P. Diddy or Sean Combs himself and how he succeeds. It's really cool. And if anything, I should probably have an image of it on there. If I don't, then I'll just be doing the reading. Alright, cool. So just listen up. He is getting ready to record what he says will be his last album and vows to devote full time to that process while it's going on, even leaving the connected world behind. This is in the words of Sean Combs. I lock myself in the studio so I've got 100% focus, he says. I can't even have a phone. If there's a 911 call, they know how to get to me. Otherwise, I just disconnect from the world. People are perplexed by my productivity and prolificacy. They can't even come close to it. I'm always perplexed by their perplexity. It is all about focused attention, thought, energy, and effort. If you can't or won't lock yourself in and lock everybody and everything else out while you give a true 100% of you to a specific single thing, you cheat it. Cheat yourself, can't do it to your best ability, and won't get very much done per hour, per day, week, month, and year. I don't think this is hard to grasp. I know it is hard to do, but a whole lot harder for most people to do than it should be. I have operated in a lot of environments where there's no choice. On a soundstage, producing, or being on camera on an infomercial. The doors lock. Those who are in for the duration. Those out are out for the duration. No phones, no communication from outside that locked door. God help the person who stops a take in progress. If you can be there and you do that for an uninterrupted hour or two, you can take it anywhere, if you will. So I'm going to say that again. If you can be there and do that for an uninterrupted hour or two, you can do it anywhere, if you will. And then that was done with him talking. This is more like Dan Kennedy talking. And the sulky behind the racehorse, lining up behind the starting gate in tight quarters with 8 other horses, sulkies, and drivers, a piece of paper's width apart between your heel and the next guy's ever-present risk of injury or death. Winning or losing is a matter of hesitating for less than the time needed to tap a key on the computer keyboard. If you can't focus to the exclusion of every other thought, you can't be out there. The above referenced renegade millionaire, now known as Sean Combs, has mastered focus for music, for live theater on Broadway, for concert performing, and for making money. His businesses and endorsement marketing relationships include Ciroc Vodka, De Leon Tequila, Aqua Hydrate Fitness Water, again, Sean John Fashions, topping annual retail sales of $500 million predominantly through Macy's, NC, a clothing line he acquired through Liz Claiborne, and Revolt TV. Yeah. Carried by Time Warner, Comcast, and Verizon Fios in 46 of the top 50 markets. His music companies have worked with Notorious B.I.G., Usher, Mary J. Blige, Mariah Carey, and these interests are not random. In his mind, his businesses link a la Hef's, a neighbor, or Disney's. Everything is about creating a world. When you get up in a club to dance, it's to a record from my label. You have on a Sean John suit. You're wearing a Sean John cologne. You're drinking Ciroc. Forbes estimates his worth at $735 million, making him #1 among the richest hip-hop artists. He pulled in $60 million as an entertainer last year, the only one to do it without a live tour. Combs was born in Harlem and lived there to age 12. His father, a drug dealer, was murdered when Sean was 2. The women who raised him instilled work ethic. His mother worked 3 jobs. His grandmother worked 2. He ran several paper routes while attending school. He is famous amongst bloody fucking hell, excuse me. He is famous amongst associates for packing a week's worth of productivity into a 24-hour period. Everybody else struggles to keep up in business and elsewhere. At 46, he recently ran the NYC Marathon in a respectable 4 hours and 15 minutes. He has a reputation, odd as with the name changes, mercurial, at times obnoxious, but most of all, unstoppable. This is a simple truth of self-made millionaires. Plenty of people and obstacles try to stop them, but they refuse to let them. This is different from mere persistence or perseverance. It's resoluteness. If a close associate says he definitively makes up his mind to do something, it is not good to be standing in the way. Ciroc was struggling to sell 400,000 cases when he came in. Fuck, man, I'm messing up this reading. Hold on. Ciroc was struggling to sell 400,000 cases when he came in and set up Ciroc was struggling to sell 400,000 cases when he came in and set out to move 1 million cases. The next year, sales topped 2 million. This is his norm. That's fucking awesome. That is powerful, fucking powerful. How good that read is. If anything, I'll make sure to have an image on this for you so you can read it yourself. This is really good. But yeah, dude, you can. Dude, so this is the step, what do you call this, 4-step system that he uses. So he can win and make sure that he gets everything done. And he has his fucking 4x focus, and he controls his environment, and he takes down his goals the maximum, or in the least amount of time possible. Let me read that again, too. There's something in there that really caught my mind when I first read that. He is famous amongst associates for packing a week's worth of productivity into a 24-hour period. That is fucking beautiful. I'm going to say that one more time, just because I love that line. He is famous amongst associates for packing a week's worth of productivity into a 24-hour period. What does that tell you? It's beautiful. It doesn't just tell you that he's capable of that, but it also tells you that you can fucking accomplish anything. Stop limiting yourself. I know you can do it. You can do it. I believe in you. We're gonna fucking crush this. Whatever your goal is, whatever your obstacles are, just figure out what they are. Acknowledge them. Write them down. Get clear on that. Take as long as you need to take. I know they're hard. I know sometimes it's difficult. I know there's challenges. I know there's other things going on, but I believe in you. You can amplify your state when you go into the secret to focus is energy, and we talk about priming and how you can really activate your body. Dude, go in there. Crush it. Put yourself in the right state of mind and consistently allow this process to go on and trust this process because it's about winning the war, not trying to conquer just a single battle. Okay, we are here to win the war, and what the fuck are we gonna do? We are going to win the war, and this is your formula to win